Yep.
What's going on, guys? E-Drone here, and after my last video with the soldering fail, I've gotten some comments and some insight, and some of it makes sense to me, and some of it kind of doesn't. But what I want to do today is I want to try to test the temperature of the soldering iron with one of these little fancy. I'm not sure how accurate this is going to be, but this is one of those probe thermometers that you check like the temperature of meats and stuff like that. Hopefully it'll go up high enough to actually read, but we do have Fahrenheit and Celsius. So what I'd like to do, since we are at 450 degrees Celsius on the iron, I'd like to go ahead and set our thermometer to Celsius. Okay, so now I've got my probe for the thermometer plugged in, and we can kind of see where we're at here. So yeah, I've got some comments. Like I said, this did come with a European style plug, which did say it was 220 volt. However, I did plug it into a United States converter plug, and I thought that would still give it the right amount of voltage that it needed to get up to temperature. But I will say, the last time I did try to solder, I did have the soldering iron plugged into an extension cord that was plugged into the wall. This time we are not. This time we are directly plugged into the wall directly. I want to take all the variables out of this, so we can kind of see what's going on. Is it the iron? Is it the solder? Is it me? What's going on? So I've had the iron turned on here at the maximum, which is 450 degrees Celsius, for about 7 minutes now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my probe here, and I'm going to touch it to the tip of the iron, and we're going to see what this gets us on the thermal readout here, just to kind of see, is it getting up to temperature? Is it not getting up to temperature? I don't know how accurate this is going to be, but this probe tends to be pretty accurate any of the times I've actually used it. So I'm holding it right here on the tip. You can see it's rising, and I want to just want to see. I'm just curious. I want to see what this iron is actually gonna raise to. So we're up to 70 degrees Celsius. Someone had mentioned in the comments, they said, oh, well, this is a 220 volt soldering iron and you're only running 120 volts through it, so you're only going to get half the temperature. And that may be correct. I'm not sure. I know that when I bought the soldering iron, after I bought it, I did realize that, oh shoot, it is set up for a European style plug. And obviously I've got a United States, USA style plug. But I thought, hey, you know what? I'll just plug it into the European adapter to USA adapter, and everything will be fine. Okay, so that was our set temp for whatever we were doing before, so that's why it's beeping. But now we are at 103 degrees Celsius, and we are not getting any hotter, which that's nowhere near what it's supposed to be. 102. Let me see if I can turn off this, turn this back off, and see if I can set the temp. We'll set this way up as high as it'll go. And it seems to be going pretty high, actually. We're already up to 150. Let's see if we can get it up to at least 200 Celsius. I'm not sure how high it'll go. I've never really tried. Hopefully I don't damage it, because it's been a good little digital thermometer. Oh yeah, it's going okay. So it goes all the way up to 250. So let's try it again and see, you know, if the iron will get any hotter. So you saw it go up to 103 degrees Celsius, and it kind of held off right there, guys. It didn't get any hotter. And the wheel on the temperature control will not turn anymore. That's the most it will turn. So and this is so I know I'm not crazy, but this iron is not getting up to temperature, obviously, at 103 Celsius. Now, whether that's because I got a faulty iron, or whether it has something to do with, like one of the users had said, with the fact that this is rated for 220 volt European style, and I'm running a 120 USA style. I don't know if that's why. Leave your comment below. You know, feel free to comment on this if you know more about running a 220 volt soldering iron that's set up for European style plug to a USA 120 volt. If you guys know anything about this, you know, feel free to leave a comment, because I'm really curious myself. But I thought as long as I had a converter and plugged it into 120, that it should still get up to temp. And you can see this thing should be climbing way hotter than that, guys. And last time, you know, I did have my AC running, which I thought, okay, you know, that maybe that has something to do with it. So I turned the AC off. I turned my fan off. You know, any kind of variables that would make this thing cool down, I've turned off. Okay, so now we're at 104. It is getting slightly hotter than it was. I'm trying to hold this on here and keep it right on the tip, because that's where most of the heat's supposed to transfer. But 104 is the highest that I was able to get it to go to. I mean, this thing should be like way up there. I mean, this isn't even half of how hot it's supposed to be. You're seeing it right here, guys. I mean, 101 degrees Celsius, and I got this thing cranked up to 450 degrees Celsius. You know, I've also, and I mean, I can feel a little bit of heat coming off of it, but it's not a lot. I mean, I can even still touch it without getting burned. So it may be the fact that it's set up for European 220 volt. That may be. I mean, I just can't comprehend running 220 USA volts to this soldering iron. I mean, that just doesn't seem right to me. I feel like 220 volts, I'm going to blow something up. I mean, 220 volt is a lot of volts. It just doesn't. But as you can see, guys, it's not, and it's slowly now. It's 96. I've been holding it on here constantly, and the highest I was able to get it to was 104. So obviously we've got some kind of an issue, whether it's the iron, maybe it's a faulty iron. I mean, it did come from China. I paid very little money for it. Let's go ahead and turn this thing off before we start a fire or something, because this thing is not right. Whether it's the iron, whether it's the plug, whether, I mean, I can assure you that this thing may not be the most accurate thing in taking temperatures, but I'm pretty sure it's not it's not 200 and some degrees off. I mean, that wouldn't even make sense. I mean, even if we switch over to Fahrenheit, you know, we're coming back down, because the tip was rather hot for being on that iron, and I can feel it's still a little warm. But definitely, you know, I'm not crazy. You know, this thing is not getting hot enough to melt, to transfer heat, for one, and to two, to even melt the solder to liquid point. It's not getting hot enough, and you can see the tip there. So, you know, regardless of whether we add more flux, if this thing's not getting up to temperature, it's not going to melt the solder and it's not going to turn into liquid state. So I wanted to just show you that real quick, guys. I just wanted to do a quick little video, just doing a little test here, testing the temperature of the iron through this digital temperature probe. And I'm glad that I did, because I felt like I needed to know more. I needed to know why it wasn't getting up to temp. If it was getting up to temp, was it the solder? Was it the board? There's a lot of variables when it comes to soldering. Was it the extension cord? There's so many different variables. But now I'm 100% sure, guys, that the iron is not getting up to temperature. And it may have everything to do with this plug, and it may not. I am not sure. But I'll show you right now. This is the setup that I have on it, and it's just a simple, 120 volt USA here, okay, and you see it right there. It says 125/250 volt, okay, 6 amp. So it's supposed to take, a regular 250 volt, 2.5 amp, okay. This is rated for 6 amp, so this is plenty enough to convert it. It's supposed to take this style plug, and plug in here and convert it to your regular USA 120. I really don't think that you're supposed to run 220 USA volts through this iron. I'm pretty sure you would blow it up or probably kill yourself. So that just doesn't make sense to me. I'm pretty sure that 250 volt for this prong in Europe is the equivalent of our 120 volt that we have here in the United States. I'm almost 100% sure of that, but I could be wrong. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know if you know more about converting these plugs. But I will tell you this, the next iron I get, I'm not going to cheap out and get the absolute cheapest thing I can find, that's rated for 60 watts. And I won't be getting anything that has a European style plug. I will definitely get a United States plug. But I'll keep you guys posted on that, and whenever I get the new iron, we'll do a nice review on that, and we'll test it out as well before we start building. Till my next one, thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. E-Drone out.